Hello Duelists, it's Tombox here, and I'm going to be discussing the June 12th emergency ban list that has been issued to TCG. And also, aside from just that, we're going to be going to an in-depth analysis of this ban list, and we're going to go into adapting options. So stay tuned for that. So, Konami basically dropped this list today and said, well, hey guys, you guys haven't made your predictions yet. We're going to throw this out there since we've seen some results from YCS Pittsburgh. And this whole list can basically be summarized as the following four things. So first off, the Fusion Sub combo is dead. You're no longer going to get free cards for Emerald and Norden, because Norden is banned, of course. And the other thing is they neutered MX Saber Invoker access from Zodiacs by chopping off 2 Speedward Terratops. And that also makes it a much sackier card to play if you're still playing it. And for those that don't like Grass is Green, don't like 60 card decks, we've neutered them too, made them even sackier by putting it at 1. And so now your Grass will only grow once. There's only one season for this card. And Pendulum cards, well, lucky you guys. You guys get a massive Zenkai boost. You guys are almost dead at this point, almost forgotten. And now you're back stronger than ever with a massive unlocking of your potential. If you saw, I'm using a lot of Dragon Ball references here, but this is exactly what it is. They're getting a lot of their cards back, and therefore, well, Zenkai boost. Okay. Now, this is kind of like Konami saying, hey guys, we hate Zoo too! Don't hate us, and buy Maximum Crisis! Buy lots of Maximum Crisis, and holy crap, this list is very favoring to those that are buying Maximum Crisis, basically, and I'll go into that very soon. And as an added bonus, Konami actually released, well, when they're not going to hit us for the next ban list, they're not going to hit us until well, August of 2017. So this is actually in the article, and it's been a very long time since they have done that. So anyways, let's go into the list. For cards getting completely banned, we have Elder Entity Norden. I guess that's following OCG. For cards going down to 1, we have Speedward Terratop, and also we have That Grass Looks Greener. And for the cards going for massive Zenkai boost, unlocking your full potential, we have Performapulse Skullcrobat Joker, we have Wisdom Eye Magician, and we also have Pendulum Calling. What? Did like Lithosatchman invade Konami or something and then just wrote this list? It's like, these are the cards I would hit in the extra deck. Yes, I would hit the Norden, I would hit the MX Saber Invoker, and whatever for the rest of it. This is literally what it feels like, because these are Lithosatchman targets. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the Zodiac hits specifically, and I'm going to be including Norden since Norden was a very big role in the Zodiac deck, especially for the Fusion Substitute combo. Now, let's count the number of cards that the Zodiacs have to take out. So if you're not going to play any of these cards anymore, so your Speedward Terratops has 3 cards and 1 Taketomborg, and then there is the Fusion Sub side. We have the Lunalight combo, which is 1 Black Sheep plus 1 to 3 Fusion Substitute. We are also losing out our 2 Instant Fusions. So that's about 10 cards, maximum of 10 cards, maybe 8 if you don't run that many Fusion Subs. So that's 8 cards in one 40 card deck. That's 20 to 25% of the deck that you have to cut out. So that is no small hit. There's no way you can say that's a small hit. You're losing like a quarter of your deck basically at this point. But okay, let's be honest here. Do you think Konami is actually beating around the bush? I mean, they didn't hit any of the main Zodiac cards at all. Like, Dryden's still at 3. Dryden is obviously one of the most problematic monsters there. Rat's still available, and then they're basically still fully functional. Actually, I don't blame them for doing this, because a deck's lifespan basically is how much you paid for it. Just judging by Necros, Necros survived for a full year basically without getting hit, and that deck was hella expensive, and Zodiacs are basically kind of following in that same trend. And also, losing the Fusion Substitute combo, this means that we're getting less and less free draws as a Zodiac player. Therefore, I guess we are expending our resources similar to the other decks of the lower tier at the moment. So what are your thoughts down below? Just leave me your thoughts down below about this, and we're going to continue on about this. So how do we actually replace these cards that we are missing? We're like replacing 8 to 10 cards at this point. So the first thing that comes to mind, to me anyways, would be the Predaplant engine with Brilliant Fusion. Brilliant Fusion offering you an additional normal summon, throwing out an additional level 4 body, perhaps Snow, perhaps Trick Clown. you can still do a lot of fun combos with it, and perhaps even utilize that Seraphonite that is summoned out from Brilliant Fusion, and you still have MX Saber Invoker access, which would be the most key thing about this. Another thing that you can try to use would be, I guess, moving forward into playing True Draco Zoo, because you can actually fill more of the deck with those cards as well, and that deck and that archetype is also very powerful, and it synergizes quite well with the deck as well. And you can also play Bao Baboon if you want to replace your Terratops, if you're going to play the True Draco variant. And finally, if you want to stay pure, you can still do that by filling yourself with more Zodiac monsters and filling it with traps, because traps are an option at this point. Now, note that all three of these suggestions I'm making, a lot of these can relate to Maximum Crisis. A lot of these cards that we're replacing are with Maximum Crisis, so basically they're kind of telling you indirectly to go buy Maximum Crisis if you want to keep playing this game. Now, as for your extra deck, you're losing about 3 cards in your extra deck. One is Elder Entity Norden, because it's banned. If you're not going to play the Terrortop, the level 3s, or the rank 3s rather, are going to have to come out as well. So MX Saber Invoker, and the Totem Bird. Without Totem Bird, to me, Totem Bird hurts a lot more. But, okay, so you're losing these cards, so what are you going to replace it with? Well, here are your options. Tornado Dragon is a very good generic rank 4. Maybe you should play that. And there's also the Karen Gorgon. If you're not playing Karen Gorgon already, you can put back the Utopia package, Lightning and regular Utopia. And you can even play Castell or even Diamond Dire Wolf. To some of you guys thinking, Diamond Dire Wolf, why would I play that? Well, Diamond Dire Wolf can technically pop a Ram, which could net you a +1 at the end, getting you a free pop. So these are your options. And again, with the Tornado Dragon release, who wouldn't put Tornado Dragon into their extra deck, being a free MST? It's a quick effect too. See, again, with the Maximum Crisis. Now let's take a look at That Grass Looks Greener. Of course, there is an FTK variant in OCG where you can mill out basically your entire deck and use a Magical Explosion for about 8,000 damage very easily on the very first turn. Although it's consistent, it's not really a tournament-worthy deck because it's pretty easy to side against. Now, aside from the FTK stuff, which does obviously warrant a hit for certain cards, the 2 decks that hurt the most would be the 60-card Paleo Frog variants, and of course there's Infernoid Zoo. You might even say that these cards, like these decks in particular, are already hurt by Ash Blossom Joyous Spring, and you are correct on that. But Ash Blossom Joyous Spring can't deal with a follow-up second copy of this Grass Looks Greener. And say you play one Grass Looks Greener, your opponent uses their Ash Blossom Joyous Spring on you, and then you play a second copy, therefore the card that they paid so much money for is basically useless, and you're still gonna have to watch yourself, well, die to that card. Yeah, so Konami is definitely taking that option away, therefore giving Ash Blossom Joyous Spring more value and more effectiveness in terms of her utility. And that definitely hurts a lot. So what are your options for these 2 decks? As for Infernoids, go to play, I guess, Void Feast instead. Play the Void Feast variants. You can go back to 40 cards if you really want to. And you can go back to Reasoning. Void Feast, you can still Void Feast into Void Feast, which is still a way to actually dodge over the Ash Blossom Joyous Spring issue. As for Frogs, you can go back to 40 deck Frogs. 40 card Frogs is still very viable. Or you can still play a Saki version where you can play all your utilities, maybe even shove in a couple of Zoo cards in there, and you can still play your 60 card variant. And even if you still top deck and sack a nice That Grass Looks Greener, well, you played it, you deserve to be rewarded for it at least. Anyways, that would be my opinion on how you can move forward with these 2 decks. Alright, now let's talk about Pendulums. Pendulum's hilarious. They're getting a full power Zenkai boost, if you will, and well, we know exactly what Konami is doing here. This is the T-bone steak dinner before the execution from Link format. In Link format, there is no viable support for Pendulums at the moment, making it a very difficult mechanic to play, so they're gonna let them burn bright right now and sell more cards to Maximum Crisis. Now, going to 3, we have the Skullcrobat Joker, we have the Wisdom Eye, and we also have the Pendulum Calling. And with the latest release of Duelist Alliance in the set, they can basically have the best consistency ever. And, you know, a side note here, Skullcrobat Joker's at 3. It was on the emergency list to be at 1, and now you're putting it on the emergency list back at 3. Do you see what you're doing here? And then, this is kind of an insult to Stratos. Stratos has been on the ban list for like, what, forever, and now you put his, basically his Pendulum counterpart at 3. That's something for you to think about. Of course, I wouldn't be surprised if the deck got really, really good, because Duelist Alliance allows you to search for any Pendulum card. Now, think of the best Pendulum cards or Pendulum name card available. We have, well, Performable Pendulum Sorcerer, Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. So you already have two of the best monsters available. And with the limiting of, what was it? Draco Face-Off. That was the card. Draco Face-Off was limited to 1, but you also gave them triple Rhoda for those monsters through Duelist Alliance. And Duelist Alliance can even search Pendulum Calling, which can fulfill your skills very easily. So you have all the Pendulum consistency. And now for those who are thinking like, oh, but they have Ash Blossom to kind of stop it. Now this is the same scenario of the True Dracos. Demise True Draco. They run a bunch of draw cards, say like Card of Demise, Pot of Desires, Pot of Duality, Dragonic Diagram. They run all of these things just so that they can overwhelm the Ash Blossom play. This is the exact same case. You have Performable Skullcrobat Joker, you have Performable Pendulum Sorcerer, you have Draco Face-Off, you can use it against, well, Pendulum Calling. You have a ton of cards that they can just keep on spamming out. And even like the Pot of Greed combo, Turtle and Lizard Draw, all that stuff is still available to them. So I would not be surprised if I saw them top a recent event. Like, sure, they might not be as powerful as, say, Zodiac, but I'm sure they'll be able to find a way to create unbreakable boards, which is what they were really good at before. And having access to Ignister is a very scary card. And with Dynastor being able to protect these Pendulum monsters, it just makes it that much more difficult for Zoo to target and destroy their cards. And Pendulum Calling also prevents destruction as well, so maybe we will have an interesting Pendulum deck at the end of this format too. And also, one more boost for Maximum Crisis is that if you're allowing a Pendulum deck to come back, one card definitely comes to mind that is very good. It is Unending Nightmare. Being able to pop Pendulum scales non-stop, who wouldn't want that? Your opponent puts up a scale, it's gone. Boom, it's gone. And again, it is another sale tactic for Maximum Crisis. Finally, let's go into some of the collateral damage that this emergency ban list has done to us. Fluffles, you guys lose your Toad access. Basically, you don't have the ability to put 2 water monsters on the field unless you normal summon them over 2 turns. So Bahamut Shark access to Toad is kind of out of your reach now. And for a deck that's also water related, Mermails, you guys lost one of your biggest combo plays. You played 3 instant fusions for the free Atlantean Dragoons play, where you just overlay them and then you get free searches all day, every day. And Atlantean Dragoons is not like a once per turn search. You can use as many copies as you want. So yeah, that's a big hit. So you now actually have to commit 2 monsters, and your deck already needed to commit resources to begin with. So I think that instant fusion Norden hit is a pretty bad one. You can still play Rare Fish, I guess. Now, for True Kings and Dinos, Lithosagem is not as good now. Your main targets are gone. Now people are just gonna double up on basically their entire extra deck, because we no longer, for Zoo players, we no longer need to play the 1-ofs anymore. The 1 Norden that potentially would brick, you know, 20% of our deck, and the MX Saber Invoker. Now you kind of have to hit 1-off targets. Although it does limit our resources, we do have ways of recovering, or maybe play even more Zodiac cards. And for the unfortunate players of Speedroids, you guys lost, well, 2 Terratops. Well, your deck has purely wins, so having multiple Taketomborg doesn't hurt as much, but losing a Zodiac Terratop means you are losing a search. One of the best searches in your entire deck, and you lose 2 of those, so I do feel for you guys as well. Anyways, guys, let me know what are your thoughts about this emergency ban list. Should they have directly hit Zodiac instead? Why are they hitting all the other decks that are able to play? I would love to hear your thoughts, or maybe you think that this is the correct move because all decks deserve a lifespan depending on how much value people spend on it. And to that point, it does make a lot of sense, because if people spend money on a deck, they want to be able to play it for a certain time. There's an expiry date for every single deck, and that's something I actually do believe in. And the more money people spend on the deck, it should live longer in that case, because it provides player confidence that they can buy a product and be able to use it. And that's how we kind of judge whether or not something should be hit on the ban list, or whether or not it's too early. But anyways, let me know what are your thoughts down below. Like, how do you think Konami's supposed to make money and keep providing us players with these cards to play? And until then, I'm going to proceed now to the end phase. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.